My name is David Floyer, and I'm the CTO and one of the co-founders of Wikibon. I'm going to look at the cost projections from now to 2020, assuming best practice within the data center, and explore how this leads to an imperative that all flash data centers should be implemented by 2016. On this chart, we show the two major storage types found within the data center, flash and magnetic disks. The flash shows the decrease in price over the next 5 years of flash storage. Included in the price is the packaging, the power, the space required, the cooling of that space, and the maintenance, all within a 4-year price. This is reducing at around 30% and is not driven by data center reduction. It's driven by the demand from consumers, the demand for flash to be in mobile devices, in the recording of videos, in flash thumb drives, and many other categories of usage. When you look at the disk drives, they are declining much slower in price, around 15% per year or even less. And the reason for that is that disk drives, although they're becoming more common in the data center, are declining in a major part of the market, which is in laptops and desktops. It's projected by 2018 that 50% of all laptops and desktops will be flash drives rather than magnetic drives. However, even though flash is reducing fast, by 2020, magnetic drives, from the point of view of a cost per terabyte, are still going to be cheaper. We're going to look and see how that cost per terabyte is not the correct metric to use. In this chart, we're looking at ways that we can use data reduction techniques to lower the cost of storage. One of those techniques is data reduction using deduplication and compression. And if we apply that to storage, we don't get a lot from it. And the major reason is that the performance characteristics of storage, unless it's hardly being used at all, mean that you will affect the performance characteristics of the storage, and it won't be a good thing to do. However, with flash you have performance to spare, both IOPS and bandwidth. So it's actually very much easier to apply compression and deduplication, and that's shown in the green line on this chart. You can see that it starts at 2, which many vendors will say is a very conservative number, and they will show benchmarks where they can get 4, 5, or even more. What I'm referring to here is 2 across the whole of the data center for capacity flash. And this will grow from 2 to, we project, 4 by 2020. Now, the purple line shows data sharing, which is a new concept, at least a new concept in how aggressively you can do it with flash. Data sharing is about taking a copy of storage, a snapshot of it, and using the same physical copy, making only a logical copy, which you can then provide to other applications, other users. So, for example, you could have a transactional system and take a snapshot and make a copy of it, which can be used for the data warehousing system, and take more snapshots and provide those for the developers to use. The reason you can do this, or the reason that you can make these copies, and these copies are on a marginal basis next to 0, is because you have so much performance in that flash. And the people who are doing the installations that are doing all-flash arrays at the moment and all-flash installations are finding that they can drive this very hard indeed. So we have those two that we can apply to flash. Now, both of these can apply, and they can apply together, and the effect is multiplicative. And on the next chart, we show how the multiplicative effect of that for flash is going to drive the effective amount of storage you require, drive it from 3 times less than you would for magnetic storage in 2015 to 24 times less by 2020. This is a big, big difference, and the major reason why flash is going to be cheaper, not because it's cheaper per terabyte, but because you only need to buy so much less that this will reduce the price drastically. On this chart, we have applied those cost reductions to the first chart. The top line is the original cost of flash, and the red line is the original cost of storage. By applying deduplication and compression, you can see that by 2018, the lines will cross. But if you apply deduplication, compression, and data sharing, you'll see that the lines cross in 2016. That's next year. That means that it's going to be imperative to move towards an all-flash array, because unless you take advantage of that, you will be spending far more on buying many more terabytes of magnetic drives when you can reduce the cost by buying just flash drives and using compression, deduplication, and sharing to lower the cost and lower the amount that's needed to be purchased. Let's take the bottom two of those and show them more clearly. You can show that by 2020, the projected cost of storage per terabyte is going to be $9 compared with 74 with disk. That's 8 times lower in price. On this chart, I've added that 3 to 24 line that I had before and show that really the imperative is to change processes and change mindsets so that these numbers can be achieved. And the single most important metric that Wikibon would recommend that CIOs manage is the data sharing, because that needs reorganization of the data center and changes of the processes that are used. That factor is the most significant new thing that has to be managed. This chart shows all the assumptions that have gone into making this presentation, and you can find all of the details here at our website at premium.wikibon.com. So we have the conclusions here for action by CIOs. The first is that there should be a strategic initiative to migrate to an all-flash data center by 2016, by next year. What Wikibon recommends is that the Wikibon recommends a proof of concept for developer data sharing. And because you can get the whole of the database, all of the code available instantly for every developer, and at the same time improve the response time of the system for the developers, we would expect that you will get at least a 2 times productivity improvement in the developer productivity. And what early implementators have found is that code quality will increase dramatically. In one installation, they improved the number of times that code failed the QA test from 17% down to 2% by allowing more data and more availability of functionality to test things to the developer themselves. The third recommendation is to reorganize data center operations around applications, around the principle of application data sharing or application suite data sharing, maximizing the amount of data that can be moved without having to move it, which can be shared between the different applications. The budget savings will be significant, not just from storage, but because you don't have to move data. Around 25–30% of cores are used to move data from one place to another. There's savings in terms of middleware, there's savings in terms of people to manage this environment, and the most strategic advantage of going to an all-flash data center is to be able to move from systems of record to systems of intelligence. And this reduction in budget will help fund what is strategically an imperative of systems of intelligence. So we believe this is a strategic imperative to move as quickly as possible by 2016 to an all-flash data center. And we are offering to help CIOs jointly create an implementation plan for the first 5 CIOs to contact us at Wikibon. This is David Floyer, thanking you for your time today, hoping that we can help you move to a data center imperative of an all-flash data center by 2016, and looking forward for you to look at our site at wikibon.premium.com, where there are many research articles to help you in that process.